Hi, Alan here, RVAcrossAmerica.net, and I'm here in Dalhart, Texas. That's Dalhart, Texas. It's about 30 miles from the Oklahoma border and about 30 miles from the New Mexico border. So I am in the extreme northwest corner of Texas. And it's been quite a journey. By the way, this post is going to be over at my site, rvacrossAmerica.net/forts, Forts, and you'll understand why in a minute. But I want to give you a little background on where I've been and what I'm doing. I've reached the northwest corner of Texas. I'm working my way north. I'll be spending a little bit of time in Colorado. I need to pick up a new bike, a trike, if you will, and I'll tell you about that at some point. That'll be a new post coming up eventually. Then up into Wyoming and then up into South Dakota. I'll be in South Dakota for July, the whole month. Looking forward to it. I'll be there at a conference. I'll tell you more about that conference as the time arrives. I arrived in Texas in mid-October, so I've been here for basically about a half a year. It's already April 10th, so maybe over half a year. I don't know. I arrived and spent most of the winter in Tow, which is a little town spelled T-O-W, and there's a post about this on RVAcrossAmerica.net, in the Texas Hill Country. It's a beautiful area. Enjoyed my time down there. Had that week plus of severe cold weather, but totally atypical and unexpected for that part of the country. When I left Tow on March 1st, and again, it's about 5-6 weeks later now, I've been traveling ever since. And Texas itself could be its own nation. Think about it. Could be its own nation. I headed west, and I headed out towards an area called Alpine after visiting Sonora. Alpine gave me the opportunity to go down to Del Rio and make a visit to the border. There's a post about that. And Alpine gave me an opportunity to visit, and Sonora gave me an opportunity to visit a couple of different forts. And that's why this post is rvacrossAmerica.net/forts. Near Sonora is Fort McKavett, and near Alpine is Fort Davis. And I'll tell you a little bit about those in a minute. After leaving Alpine, I worked my way north and east towards Pecos, and then Andrews, Brownfield, Littlefield, all of which offer RV parks in the middle of town that are free. Donations are welcome, and yes, I did. But they're great places to be. They have water and electric, and in fact, I'm at a park here in Dalhart, which is not free. It's $15 a night, but it's full hookups. So it's pretty cool what the Texas communities provide. And of course, you return not only with the donation, but you're spending money in their community, and it's an opportunity. It's really cool. Obviously, when I was in Brownfield, I encountered a dust storm. That's recorded in one of the posts also at rvacrossAmerica.net. And, each town had its own flavor. Ran into a little trouble in Andrews with close encounter with some tree branches, and ended up with a new roof just north of Brownfield. I have a story about that coming up. That'll be highly worthwhile your time, because I've got some new material on the roof that is not in widespread use yet. Very widespread use, I should say, and it looks like it's pretty good stuff. So you'll hear more about that. What I did in my travels is visit those two 19th century forts, Fort McKavett and Fort Davis. And I learned some very, very interesting things, all of which is recorded in the post, most of which I don't want to get into in the video. What I will say is that when I go to visit places, visiting history for me is kind of a, I don't know, it's a soul-searching thing. It's a personal enrichment thing. It's a spiritual journey. to learn more about our roots, to learn more about where we came from and what we were like and how we got to where we are now. And the visit to those two forts was both very enlightening and very interesting. A lot of photos over at the post. Again, rvacrossamerica.net/forts. I will tell you that one of the subtext stories that I picked up on was a story about integration, particularly how it behaved within the U.S. military. And I've posted a few thoughts in there, some of which I can't historically back up, and I'd welcome your thoughts on it. You'll see what it is that I'm talking about when you read it, and I'd welcome your input as to whether I'm on the right track or not. But it's a story about integration and a story about human-to-human interaction, and that was powerful. I also learned when I went to Fort Davis about a Confederate invasion of New Mexico and a plan to push westward to the Pacific. I had never learned at any point in my readings and in my schooling about the Confederacy pushing to the Pacific. That's an interesting story in itself. What happened, why it was done, and how it ended up. So I'll leave you with those thoughts to go visit the post and get the entire backstory on the visit to these two forts. Again, Fort McKavett and Fort Davis. Davis itself is extremely interesting because of whom it's named after. You're not going to believe it if it hasn't connected already, that there's a Fort Davis. And I will tell you that I have coming up some new stories. Again, the roof coming up, some stories on health and wellness, more stories about travel, more advice about campers. I had an opportunity to spend a little more time in Alliance Fifth Wheels and have maybe some updated thoughts on that. So, Alan here, rvacrossamerica.net. I've rambled on long enough. Go to the post, rvacrossamerica.net/forts. Check it out, and there's an opportunity at the bottom to give me some feedback. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And of course, with videos, I always welcome the thumbs up. Hey, thank you, and you have a wonderful day.